Hi! I decided to do things a little bit differently today and record this video for you instead of writing everything out. I've noticed, even though I've transitioned out of baby brain, I've definitely entered into the lack of sleep brain, so trying to find the words to write, woo, they're just not coming. So I'm going to power up and deliver some goodness to you. The theme for this video is all about living your full potential and your purpose. Are you living your full potential and your purpose? And this question is something that has been coming up in my awareness a lot over the last couple weeks. As we've moved into week 8 with Miss Aria Sky, having a new baby has been wonderful and amazing, and she is such a gift. I'm so grateful. And at the same time, I've really been looking at, okay, how do I want to create my life going forward? And I find that for any of us who have ever added new elements to our life, whether that's a partnership or new location or babies or, anything that we add, it occupies space, and then we need to adjust our lives accordingly because, we really do. We can create time, we can expand time or shrink it, depending on our mindset, but there really are so many hours in a day, and we want to maximize the amount of time that we spend or that we share in each of those elements. I fully want to be present with Aria and take in all the goodness that she's presenting. I fully want to be with my partner, I fully want to be with family, and I fully want to engage in my business and be of service in the ways that I love to. And so I've been asking this question: how do I want to rebirth? What's this next cycle looking like for me? Because I know that things are changing. I'm looking at all the different elements of what I've done, what I've created, who I've been in the world, and I can definitely feel a shift happening. There's a big change going on. And for any of you who have gone through periods of change, or maybe you're in one right now and you're going through a cycle of rebirth, you're going to love the information that comes through this video, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to utilize some of the tools and make that transition or that change cycle a little bit easier, because it can be kind of scary for a lot of people. We go through these evolving points in our life where we've known ourselves to be a certain way, a certain person, a certain being, and we've lived life in a certain manner, and then all of a sudden change comes, or there's a new element that comes into our life and it shakes things up, which is awesome. And at the same time, it can rock our boat a little bit, right? And I always find that when we're going through massive periods of change, the ego is fighting with all its might to stay alive. It's fighting to maintain the being that you are right now. Even though your higher self or your soul is calling you to the next expression, the next evolution, your soul's growth, the ego wants to keep you exactly where you are. Why? Because it's safe, it's familiar, and it doesn't want to grow. It doesn't want to change. It wants to keep you exactly the way you are. So it almost fights against you. It's like going through an inner battle, an inner conflict within self of this new version of you that wants to express itself, and this old version that feels like it's dying off, and yet we cling to it because it is familiar. And so one of the things that I've found myself going through, as I'm entering into this new phase of motherhood and becoming a mom and being a nurturer to this little being, I want to spend time with her. I want to embrace all those wonderful moments. And at the same time, I know that I have this greater calling as well to serve other people, not just my family. And so I'm wanting to find the balance, and I can feel my own ego flaring up and saying, you could do things exactly the way they are. Nothing needs to change. And yet I look at it and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do all these things. I feel like I'm going to have to sacrifice some way or another. And life isn't about sacrifice. Life is about thriving. And it's up to us to find a way that feels best for us to thrive and allow our gifts to come through, that makes life easy and flowing. That is the language of our soul, 100%. And so asking that question, I've really been tossing it up to my higher self to say, show me a new way. Show me how to embody these gifts. Show me this next version of life. Show me who I am to be in this next cycle. And I find that as I'm asking that question, I'm having these amazing flashbacks of all the things that I have created thus far, which is awesome. And I think that if you ever have a flashback and you get to look at, wow, look at all the things that I have created, look at all the life that I have lived, it puts us in an instant state of gratitude and appreciation for all that is and all that was. And it allows us to feel a little bit of a lift instead of sinking into that feeling of, oh God, I don't even know what I'm going to do next. Because I have hit those moments in the last few days as well where I'm like, oh gosh, here I can hear the ego flaring up. Just do things exactly the same. Don't change anything. Don't rock the boat, and I'm like, what? Rocking the boat? That's been my life, And so I really want to address a couple questions. I wrote them down here so that I could remember. But there's 4 key things when I thought about embodying your full potential and your purpose. And the first one is, what is purpose and potential? You know, I hear this all the time. What is my purpose? What is my purpose? And on the other side of that is what is potential? You know, and I feel like our purpose really is to experience life, create life, and to experience life. And it's up to us to choose how we want to create that, and then we get to experience it. We get to live into that. Potential is the energy, the essence, the fullness of who we are. If you think about a tree, you know, I'm sitting here outside. That's why I'm wearing sunglasses too, by the way, because it's very bright outside. If you think about a tree and there's a seed that gets dropped down into the ground, that seed has so much potential in it. But if it doesn't have the right elements, the right environment, the right energy to support its growth, that seed may not grow into a tree. I'm looking at a pear and an apple tree in our backyard right now, and it's in full, like, it produced a lot of pears and apples last year, probably hundreds and hundreds. It's in its full potential, right? But it's been able to do that because it has all the elements that it needs. It has the right environment. It has the support. It has the nourishment. It has the clarity. It has the sunlight. It has the rain. It has everything that it needs to actualize what it's going to become. And I feel like we're the exact same way. We have all these seeds of light, these gifts within us that want to express, that want to come to full fruition. However, most people don't know what those are. They may not even know what their gifts are, or they might know their gifts, but they might not know how to embody them or how to express them in the world. And so then there's a lack of support, there's a lack of energy, there's a lack of essence to bring them out into the world. And so I really feel like our soul is constantly calling us to create our full potential, to bring through the higher purpose. And you'll know your purpose, and if you're on purpose, the best way to know is if you feel good, if you feel joyful. And I could say in the last couple weeks, even though I'm very joyful at home and with my family, so I know that I'm totally on point, I'm on purpose, but when I think about my work and I think about being of service, I'm not feeling so much on point. I'm feeling low energy. I'm feeling confused. I'm feeling inner conflict. I'm feeling blah. And when we feel those things, we know that there is a new path that's presenting if we're willing to look at it. And I think that's one of the first steps, is being willing to go there, being willing to look at the change, being willing to open our eyes and our heart and our mind to a new creation, to a new way of being. We're constantly evolving ourselves, and yet we choose to stay in this limited space. We choose to stay small. We choose to stay limited, I guess, and in the familiar. And yet everything around us is constantly changing. The weather, the grass, the trees, the climate, everything around us is constantly changing. So for us to think that we're not going to change, well, I don't know. I don't know about that. So I would say embrace change, acknowledge that change is a normal part of it, and then notice when the ego is coming up, when you feel out of alignment, then start to ask that deeper question. Okay, what do I really want to create? That's the question I've been asking of myself. How do I really want to present myself in the world? How do I really want to come forward? How do I want to be of service? How do I want to embody these gifts? What do I want to bring forward? What brings me the most joy? What lights me up from the inside? What is it? What is it that I'm called to do and called to be right now at this particular time? Not yesterday, not 10 years ago, but right now. Because there's certain things that I wanted 10 years ago that may not be relevant today. Or there are things that I wanted 10 years ago, an idea that I had 10 years ago, that is ready for an evolvement based on now, based on what's happening right here, right now. So be willing to shift, be willing to open to that next expression of who you are, be willing for your gifts to present and express themselves in new ways. Source and Creator is constantly evolving, constantly asking us to express. So I think that's the first thing, is to really look at what is our purpose, what is our potential, and are we on point? The second thing is, where does it all come from? Where does our purpose come from? That inner drive. Where does our potential come from? And I'm going to start with potential, because potential energy, again, I feel is coming straight from source, from your higher self, from the highest expression of who you are, constantly flowing through you, constantly flowing through, asking us to stand in our full potential, asking us to embody our gifts, asking us to show up in the world that allows us to feel awesome, totally awesome. Whether we listen to that and action it is the bigger question, right? So where does it come from? It comes from that higher expression of who you are. It comes from deep, deep inside of you. Each person on this planet was born with this inherent light, a spark that needs to be ignited in the world. It doesn't need to be, but it's asking to be ignited in the world. And when it is ignited, we feel amazing. We feel on point. We feel alive. We feel generated. And that's what I'm feeling inside of myself as I ask those deeper questions. I know that once I receive the insight as to what is next, and please keep in mind that sometimes when you throw it up and you ask for clarity, it may take a little bit for that clarity to arrive because you're realigning. If you've been in the land of the ego, you've lowered your energy field. And so when we meditate, when we pray, when we set intentions, when we set affirmations, when we do anything that allows us to lift, lifting is instantaneous. However, the clarity sometimes is instantaneous too, but sometimes it comes slowly down because we've been so far out of alignment. So as we get back into alignment, there's an adjustment period. And as the clarity starts to come, you'll know inspired goodness when it comes, because it's going to feel like a flash of such awesomeness. It's going to feel like a spark. It's going to be like a, woo, I feel totally excited. I got to go and do this now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Spirit functions and creates in now, right? That's what it does. Now, 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 now. So that's where it comes from. The other two questions, and I'm not going to answer them here, but it's just questions that I'm going to put forward to you, are how do you embody and how do you access those gifts? How do you access full potential? How do you access your purpose? I'm just going to say one of the easiest ways is probably through meditation. Another way that I will put forward as well that it just comes to mind is removing yourself from the normal day-to-day life, because when we're in normal day-to-day life, it's easy to put ourselves back into the ego of the familiar. And when we take ourselves out of the every day-to-day living and the things that we're doing, we allow ourselves an opportunity to open to something new, to see new things, to reset, to have a still moment so that we can hear the clarity that's coming in, because we're asking all the time, we're sending it up all the time. We need to create the stillness, the internal stillness, to quiet the mind, to quiet our space so that we can hear and fully receive the insights that are constantly pouring down. A great way to do that is retreat, meditation retreats, yoga retreats, anything that is spiritual or soul-based. The fourth question is, how do you express them? How do you actually embody them? How do you take those gifts from up here? How do you take the full potential from up here and bring it down and bring it out into the world? And that's the question I think that a lot of people ask themselves is how? How? And you'll hear in the spiritual world, it's not for you to figure out the how. And at the same time, I would say that when you do toss it up to spirit or your higher self or your source, the how shows up. By you being present and by you listening and by you tuning into what feels good in here, the how unfolds. It's like a red carpet that rolls out before you. The steps present. They show themselves to you. You know you're in it and you know that you're actioning it because it feels good. And it could be something so simple like get up and go to the grocery store today. You never know who you're going to meet. Or I have to email that person today. You have no idea what that email might present later on, but it could be part of that divine insight that's coming in to show you the steps. Spirit often will show us little steps at a time, and they usually show it when we're in it, right? What else can I say? Oh, the other way to fully express and embody those gifts is get the support that you need. Be around community, be around other people who can help ignite who you are and support who you are. A lot of people, we come into this world with other people. We're not here alone. And so my feeling is that we're here to support each other. We're here to help each other. And when we express to someone else wholeheartedly where they can fully receive what it is that we're bringing forward, they can support us. They can encourage us. They might have the answers that we need. They might have the next step that we need. So community and loving, compassionate support is huge. Huge. So I would recommend getting in contact. You can get in contact with me, you can get in contact with my husband, you can get in contact with whatever community you're tapped into, but begin to share openly this stage of rebirth, this time of change. And if you're not sure as to what it is that you want to do next, if you are going through a cycle of rebirth, then that's okay. Embrace it. It's totally okay. There's this time of void, and I know I'm in it myself right now. I'm not getting the clarity, and I say that with a smile on my face. It hasn't been that easy. It's frustrating and it's challenging, and I'm like, oh, I just want to know the answers. I want to know them now. I want to know them now. And I know that they will come. Part of it is me knowing and trusting that they are here. The answers are here. The answers are within me. I just have to still and listen. I just have to fine tune and listen. You know, so I would say the same thing to you, that if you're feeling like you're looking for answers and you're waiting for answers, stop waiting. Know that they're here. Know that they're within you. You just need to silence a little bit, create that stillness a little bit. And actually, if you need some further support for that, we're having an amazing soul awakening retreat this summer in Northern Ontario, July 15th to the 18th. And it is one of the most beautiful places that I've ever traveled to in the world. And I've traveled to many places. And it creates the perfect environment to silence everything. Whenever I need a reset, I go north. I go up to the place where I grew up. I meditate, I do yoga outside, and I allow nature to fully support me so that I can listen again to what I'm feeling inside. And retreats are one of my favorite ways. I do it for myself, and that's why I love running them, because I know the value, I know the transformation that occurs anytime that we've run retreats. The transformation within these people that have joined us, oh my God, it expands my heart. That's why we keep doing it, because it's so profound. You silence the mind, you are supported in a loving community. You have yoga and meditation, good food, great environment, nature, waterfalls, beautiful rocks. And the thing about Northern Ontario, especially where I'm talking about, there's no energetic interference from radio waves and buildings and traffic and all that crazy stuff. You're so far removed from it that you can literally be on the river and not see anybody for hours on end. You're just surrounded by trees and water and goodness. And that electromagnetic energy, it helps us align to who we are. There is a frequency about it that returns us to our essence. And I think that that is absolutely essential to rebirthing, especially in times of change, to allowing ourselves to move into the next version of who we are, which is totally awesome. And it allows that void time that we're waiting, like I'm waiting, you know, it allows it to go by faster. We were just up north a couple days ago, and I got so much clarity just from being up there. That's why I'm here recording these videos. I'm ready to move forward. And that's when you know it's time to move forward, because you feel a sense of recharge, you feel a sense of yes, you feel an energetic, like awesomeness, like you're going to burst from the inside out. You're so ready. And that's what I want for all of you. I want you to be ready to express your full being. I want you to fully embody your gifts, because it feels so good when we do. And be open to change, be open to rebirthing who you are. We're constantly changing. And when we embrace it, it feels so good. Let go of the resistance. Resistance is equated with ego. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. Leave a comment below this video, or feel free to email me or reach out via text. I'm answering a little bit faster that way. I'd love to hear from you. If you need support, again, please let me know. Reach out. And many blessings. So much love to you. I hope that you found this video helpful, and I look forward to bringing more your way. Mwah.